Good day, students. I am Dr. Rachna Mathur, and we are discussing the title of the novel Far from the Madding Crowd. First, we will discuss the source of the title. The title of this novel has been taken from the famous elegy written by Thomas Gray. The title of the poem is Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. The line in which this phrase occurs is, quote, far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife, unquote. This elegy describes the life of the obscure but remarkable people who live in villages. Hardy has aptly chosen the title of his novel from this famous poem. The phrase is beautiful in itself. It is musical and expressive, even as it stands. There are many associations connected with this phrase. It reminds us of the melancholic tone and the secluded and quiet atmosphere of the poem from which this phrase has been taken. It also reminds us of the greatness of the obscure villagers who form part of this poem. Thus, the title helps in setting the tone of the novel. I'm repeating. Thus, the title helps in setting the tone of the novel. It evokes the proper response in us even before we begin the novel. Thus, the title sets the tone of the novel. Second point we are discussing is expressive of the life of the countryside. The title is appropriate because the writer is here concerned with the life in the countryside. I am repeating, the title is appropriate because the writer here is concerned with the life in the countryside. This is important that the writer is concerned with the life in the countryside. English countryside forms the setting of the novel. The characters are also drawn from the countryside. The main scene of the incidents in the novel is Weatherbury. All the characters are molded and fashioned by country influences. Only Troy's character is partly influenced by the town life. The best of them, Bathsheba and Oak, are the finest specimens of what the English village can produce. Now, the third point we are discussing is the village folk lend the novel its peculiar charm. I am repeating. The village folk lend the novel its peculiar charm. Capturing the atmosphere of the village side is as much the aim of this novel as telling the story of Oak and Bathsheba. This is why we find so many scenes connected with the rustics in this novel. The major characters in the novel are Oak, Bathsheba, Boldwood, Troy, and Fanny. Yet, one of the major charms of this novel consists in the big group of rustics. I'm repeating. Yet, one of the major charms of this novel consists in the big group of rustics. The rustics provide much harmony and fun in the novel. Without them, the novel would lose its peculiar charm, its individuality. I'm repeating, without them, the novel would lose its peculiar charm, its individuality. The fourth point is the novel deals with elemental passions and feelings of human nature. I'm repeating, the novel deals with elemental passions and feelings of human nature. The title is appropriate in yet another way. The passions and feelings with which this novel deals are of an elemental nature. The feelings in which, I'm repeating, the feelings which give life to the novel are simple human feelings of love and jealousy. No character in the novel has any complexity. I am repeating, no character in the novel has any complexity. Thus, in the novel, we have human character at its simplest, and simplicity of human character is something flat we associate with the village life. So, I'm repeating, simplicity is associated with human life in villages. So we consider that villagers, they are simple. Fifth point, atmosphere of peaceful seclusion. Above all, the title is justified by the fact that this novel deals with the quiet life of the countryside. The atmosphere that prevails in the novel is the atmosphere of peace and seclusion. Troy comes into this quiet world with all his loudness and cheapness. His nature is foreign to the tone of countryside. This foreign element is purged by violent action towards the end of the novel. Now, the next point I am discussing is most appropriate title. So, according to me or according to the reader, we can give the heading. It is the most appropriate title. So, the heading is most appropriate title. Thus, in the main, the tone of the novel is exactly what the title describes it to be. The people who live here live far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife. There is no politics here. There is hardly any hypocrisy or deception here. The people who live here are quiet and contented. The title of the novel is therefore undoubtedly appropriate. So I am repeating, the title of the novel is therefore undoubtedly appropriate. It has beauty. It also has a utility in the sense that it adds to the total atmosphere of the novel. So it also has a utility in the sense that it adds to the total atmosphere of the novel. It is interesting to note Ronald Blitz's comment on the title of the novel. He writes, "Far from the madding crowd" is really a questioning title for a novel which is about disturbance in a context traditionally accepted for its passivity. The period in which the story is set, although frequently designated as a golden one in the history of English agriculture, because it drew breath as it were between two stretches of farming depressing was nonetheless one of the unsettlement and change. But these changes have not filtered through to Weatherbury to an extent which is strong enough to endanger its ancient footing or to destroy its contentment with suggestions for improvement. Bletz again comments, far from the madding crowd is also questioning title about disturbance in an area which is traditionally calm and passive. Further emphasis on the ancient quiet is maintained by Hardy, setting his novel in the 1840s. This was on the brink of so called quote unquote golden period of British agriculture following the troubled post Waterloo years of enclosure, riot, and famine. The terrible farming depression, which was to begin in the late 1870 and continue right up to the World War II, was not suspected. So, according to the reader, or most of the readers agree that Far from the Madding Crowd is appropriate title for the novel. So, students, try to write in your own words and try to make short answer type questions also. Try to write when you are listening to this e-content. That will be a dictation for you. So again, good day students, but keep on writing and practice a lot. Thank you.